What are we comparing? Two cars of a similar type,
One
nature?
One is called the Volvo V60, V means station wagon. The other is the Volkswagen Arteon Shooting Brake, which means station wagon.
Indeed. These cars, David, they're bits of odd bods because it is part of a market that is ever shrinking. It's like my brain cells after a big night out.
Yes, yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Look, station wagons, I love them. They used to be big, boxy, slab-sided things. Now they're getting great style, and they've got the sedan-type price without the SUV price, yet they've got a lot of room.
Absolutely, and the reason we've picked these both is because they are within a cooee of being the same. Slightly different price, but David, they've both got all-wheel drive. They've both got 2-litre engines.
Turbocharged?
Both turbocharged. They've both got automatic transmissions, but David, I'm in the Volvo, you're in the Arteon. I've got one more speed than you.
Yours is an automatic 8-speed. Mine is a 7-speed dual clutch.
Yeah, so dual clutch, so still automatic. Also, you've got a little more power. You've got
206 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters.
Whereas I am restricted to a mere 183 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters. But I've got a bit of an advantage, David. I've got a mild hybrid. Now, it's got a couple of advantages. It helps with fuel consumption. There's not a really huge battery. It's quite small. And also the motor is quite small too, the electric motor. Now, this is the smoothest starter-upper I've ever had in my life. You take your foot off the brake at lights, they both got start-stop, whereas the Volkswagen uses a starter motor, the Volvo uses the hybrid drive. And all it does is the engine just starts spinning. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, both cars have matrix headlights, matrix LED headlights, and similar sizes in the cabin, in the luggage space. They're just similar. Let's have a look inside, David. Do you want to do rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to make fools of themselves getting into the back seat? Bugger. Right. Okay. Not the easiest thing to get into, but
Bit of a struggle there with your foot.
Well, if this seat was a bit higher, I wouldn't have the problem, so that's not too bad. I've got plenty of knee room. There's a full-length roof, glass roof in this, which, as you say, is an option, but you can get in the Arteon as well. I've got another couple of zones of climate control in here as well, a couple of vents, and I've got the pillar vents as well. Do you know, David?
That's the big issue with the sloping roof.
I have about this much, so, you know, like really not much. I wouldn't want to go over much of a bump, but then the Arteon isn't going to be any better. Let's have a look at that. And in both cars, they've got these little divots on all 4 doors to lock and unlock. You put your hand in them to unlock. There we go. Now I'm going to put this seat up. Oh boy, baby, it's hot in here. Wow. Oh, this is much easier to get into. Much easier. I've got much more space. Look at that. Now I'm assuming this is set for you to drive, David. Got the Harman Kardon speakers. I do have heated seats and a 3rd zone of climate control as well. Boot space is within cooee, David. Whole bunch of space in there. There's a 12-volt outlet over here. The fancy Volvo cover that can go in several ways so that you can, yep, which I quite like. You can just let it go. Seats fold down 60/40, and underneath, David, do you want to show me underneath? Just mind your computer, is a space saver spare. The Arteon, you use the VW symbol. It's also electric. They've also got kick functions. There's a bunch of space in here as well.
That's pretty good, Alan.
Luggage hooks under the back floor, David.
Under the back floor. Here's the thing.
And that's the wheel that you've taken off because you hit a pothole.
Yeah.
And so there's a full alloy in there. You had to take the bass speaker out to get the wheel out.
Yes.
Crikey. All right, let's get on the road. This feels so smooth. What mode have you got it in at the moment? You've got it in comfort. And it does feel strangely comfortable, David.
You were saying an adaptive suspension, isn't it?
One of the modes in this you can have selected to your own desires. So steering and what have you. So if, for example, and you can just keep pressing the button, I've got it in sport now, so the suspension has hardened up and you can notice there's a definite difference.
Yeah, I don't think I need that, Alan. I think with the very low profile tyres, it does tend to feel the thump, thump, thump.
And it makes your jubblies jiggle.
That's another measure.
Yeah.
Okay. You also have paddles.
I do have paddles, the Volvo doesn't have paddles. Interior. I think the interior of this looks very nice. Certainly looks classy.
Nice little bit of stitching there. I think the...
Nice metal trim at the top.
Yeah. Do you like the dash?
I've always loved the VW dash. This is the full width one. The Volvo also has a full width one. I think the Volvo looks a little prettier, if I'm being honest.
I think the lane keep assist in this is very good. It's very smooth, it operates well. Not that even better than I remember from some Audis.
The VW group, David, obviously includes Cooper and Seat, Volkswagen, Audi, Lamborghini, Bentley. All right, I'm going to get this up to 100. Then I'm going to put on my travel assist, which is selected. Okie dokie. Now, you haven't got your heads-up display on. Why haven't you got your heads-up display on? There we go, it's better. Didn't come up in time.
The one time when you need 0 to 100.
I will say one thing about this DSG, and I say this about all double clutch gearboxes, David. They may have snappy changes, especially in sport mode, but I always find them a little bit rough, not quite as good as an automatic should be. It's hard because the clutches are grabbing and then dropping, grabbing then dropping. Whereas a torque converter automatic is as smooth as silk.
And
it's
efficient.
like a Buble ballad, David. That's what it's like. The experience, the overall experience, whether it's highway or whether it is around town in this car, is sensational. It is beautiful. The handling is absolutely a revelation. It is sensational. Excellent camera, by the way. Excellent. You can have that in 360 or not, as you please.
It is really,
yeah, it's really, really good. Both cars, David, have semi-automated parking.
Oh, look, we've got cooled seats.
Heated and cooled.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, yes. Actually, leave that on. Oh, that's not.
Well, hang on, that's yours. This is mine.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. Oh, David, I've got to breeze up the Khyber. Now, this is a little bit akin to the Google interface that they've got, but it's not quite. And I did have trouble getting my CarPlay to connect. For some reason, it didn't want to do it. But have a look at this. I'll do that as we're driving. But now, when I put the map on, have a look at that. It's it's a portrait screen for a start, but I've only got a tiny, tiny little bit of real estate down the bottom to get my instructions on. Although you do get them up on your heads-up display. David, what do you think of that heads-up display on the windscreen where it belongs?
Clarity. It's not quite as detailed as the Volkswagen.
No, that's true. Well, of course, both cars have the fancy AEB in all directions. Sound system in this as good as the Volvo. Absolutely brilliant. We can't test it, of course. They're just delicious. Now, there's still plenty of pickup.
Yeah, certainly not as much as the Volkswagen.
Well, it's 40 kilowatts difference and 50 newton meters. But of course, the real point I'd like to make in this car is that for me, I can get this seat exactly where I want it. I had to fiddle with the Volkswagen a bit, and I do like the electric lumbar support, side bolsters and front bolster.
Yes, it's a lot of adjustability there.
A lot of adjustability, and then you can remember it. Well, you can't remember it, but the car can remember it, because you can't remember whether it's 2 o'clock or Tuesday.
And then again, I can't remember it.
Now, when we get on the freeway, David, you will activate your, what is the Volvo equivalent of travel assist. And like the Volkswagen, if you don't activate travel assist, you don't get the lane assistance. You do get lane departure, but not lane keeping. So if you'd like to press that central button and the right arrow in that same array, now your steering is on, and then you can adjust that up and down, you know, as you see fit. I've found it as good as the Arteon, though I think, like all big red Volvos, it does slightly favour one side.
What, the right?
It won't suit us.
Yeah.
Those ventilated seats are just divine. We've still got blind spot assistance. Both cars have that. Volvo have been safety obsessed with years. They were the first with the 3-point seat belt. Volkswagen's also very safe. But I think with these slightly higher profile tyres, the chunkiness of the road seems to be not as pronounced.
I agree.
The only chunkiness in the car, David, is us.
Yeah, indeed.
Steering, how are you finding the steering?
The
Bear in
steering-
mind, you can't alter this, it is what it is.
It's not hard, but it's got a certain firmness to
Well,
it.
can I tell you, David, I took this up my usual pie in the sky Old Pacific Highway drive, and it handled brilliantly. Now, I've done that with the Arteon too, but only the sedan, and it felt like a sports car. You just have to make sure in both cars that when you are doing that twisty road driving, that you turn off all the driver aids, because otherwise the steering is going to try and do strange things, and it puts you in places you don't want to be. So, David, you've had a drive. You've had a look at the car, you've had a look at the interiors. What do you think of the Volvo?
I feel a little bit more SUV-ish in the Volvo.
It is a little bit more SUV, but the quality in the materials of the cabin is excellent. I do like a VW interior, but this really floats my boat. I like the mix of wood and steel and so forth. Volkswagen is very German. And the interior, though it's relaxing, is very just so. This is Scandi chic. Little bit of timber, lovely curves, gentleman's club. This is gentleman's club in Stockholm, circa 2022. That's what this is, David.
Okay.
Little bit of metal.
Which again, I see that as very strong. It's not bling, but it's sort of being a little bit more testosterone to my mind.
Oh, I think that's elegant. Elegant, and it says to me you've paid money. And that's all this week from Volkswagen's Arteon Shooting Brake and Volvo's V60 Cross Country. I think the Arteon easily wins on looks. I love its pillarless windows and all of that sort of thing. But for me, it's the Volvo. The Volvo wins because it's got an 8-speed automatic, even though it's got less power. And it's got that mild hybrid, which I just love. I love the way it drives. Other than that, there isn't much in it, although the Volkswagen definitely has more equipment as standard.
I become paranoid. I prefer the tyres on this that have not quite as lower aspect ratio, but all in all, I thought the Volkswagen Arteon Shooting Brake, I love that, Shooting Brake,
Shooting Brake.
is the preferred one to me. A bit more room in the back, lovely and quiet, just a little noisy under acceleration for what it is. So my choice is the Volkswagen.
That is a bombshell. They're 50-50. So my advice would be go and choose the car that you want at a local dealer, because we've really not been much help. As always, David, hit like.
Leave a comment.
And just over there, I think this time, to subscribe.